That's this one. You can hear yourself worse.
You hear both, right? You can't hear out of that one, but you're still on. Yeah, you're like, it's hard to hear. Like, yeah. You guys are clear to go whenever you want to do it. So if you want to start now, you can. If not, I'm going to turn this back down.
Oh, wait, you can hear both? Yeah. Oh, we going to start now?
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bombers basketball on the Athletic Stream. Jack Casello alongside Connor Smith. We got an exciting one for you tonight. The Ben Life Gymnasium is the place to be. The Ithaca College Bombers will be taking on Vassar. Connor, what do you like in this matchup?
Well, Jack, let me start off by saying thanks for having me tonight on this absolute beautiful Tuesday night here in Ithaca. Tonight I gotta start off by looking at what Ithaca needs to do to win here. I like Ithaca's chances. They're coming off of a tough loss against number 10 University of Scranton in University of Scranton. Now drops them to 4-1 on the season, but they're still ranked number 16, and I think that'll help them win over Vassar, who comes in tonight 2-4, getting a win their last time out, but they are now.
Yeah, I hear you. Now let's start with Ithaca on this side. Notable storyline to watch in their last game. Their top two scorers, Emily Dorn and Zoraida Ikabalseta, were both out, but they look as of right now, they are warming up and will be in the lineup tonight. What do you want to see from them too?
I want to see them continue their dominant stretches that they've had so far. Emily Dorn on the season averaging 12 and 7.5 rebounds a game. Unfortunately didn't play last game, but we want to see her get and be dominant on the boards tonight, and I want to see Zoraida Ikabalseta continue her dominant shooting stretch so far in the season, shooting about 63% from the field and shooting an astounding 58% from three. See them both continue their dominant stretches so far.
Yeah, they've really took on a nice role on this team. Zoraida taking the ball and running with it. Obviously, the star freshman, and that was a big question mark coming into the season. Who was going to fill the shoes of Grace Cannon? But let's switch over to the other side. Let's talk some Vassar. For them, their top two scorers, Julia Harvey and Sierra McDermott, both averaging 10 points a game, shooting the ball pretty well. They're off to a very nice season.
Yes, they are, Jack. And, Sierra had 10 points in their last game in their win against SUNY New Pals. Huge win for them to, kind of get the momentum going. So same with Julia Harvey. She had 7 points last game. Both of them averaging over 10 points this year and shooting very efficiently. Julia shooting 43% from the field, and Sierra shooting just about 39% from three. We'll look to see them continue their dominant stretches so far.
Now for Ithaca, obviously, we talked about the two scorers, but in any basketball game, there's always somebody that has to step up or, let's say, be an X factor. Who do you think can be that player tonight, and what kind of impact, in what area of the game do you think they can make that impact?
Yeah, no, I'm going to single out Lindsay Albertelli. Last game with no Emily Dorn or Zoraida Ikabaletsa had 12 points. She was the leading scorer for Ithaca that game. And I'm just looking to see her, kind of take some of the pressure off of Dorn and Ikabalseta and kind of just help them out in the scoring. Ithaca's averaging just under 63 points per game, so we'll look to see if she can help out on the scoring aspect.
Yeah, Albertelli having a very nice season, shooting the ball very well, around 53%. My X factor that I want to see tonight, I'm going to go with Cameron Coffey. Coffey's been off to a little bit of a slow start this year, only averaging about 5 points a game, shooting 25% from the field. Numbers you're not going to be happy with when you look at them on the stat sheet. She does well in other areas, but I'd like to see her contribute a little bit more scoring-wise. Now, let's talk. We talk a lot of individual players. Let's talk, obviously, some team basketball. One thing that caught my eye today is that Ithaca, their defense, although very formidable, they've struggled with guarding the three-pointer, giving opponents are shooting 38% on them, and coming into this game, Vassar is shooting 34%. Could that be a big problem for the Bombers tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem if Ithaca can't stop it. Vassar's had some good success so far this year, as you mentioned, with their high three-point percentage, but Ithaca's got to really pressure Vassar on the defensive side. Ithaca's averaging 9.2 steals per game this year, and Vassar's averaging over 18 turnovers a game. So we're going to look for a Ithaca press or pressure from Ithaca to kind of put Vassar in an uncomfortable scenario and try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, no doubt. On the other side, for Vassar, a stat that really caught my eye was a lot of the turnovers. Clearly, around 18 turnovers a game, and with Ithaca averaging about 9 steals per game, that could be a very big problem. The best way to win basketball games is simply taking care of the ball and don't give the other team free shots and free possessions. What does Vassar have to do to control the ball and stop turning it over?
Well, I think that Vassar needs to start by scoring early. Ithaca, if you look at Ithaca's stats this year, they've only had 60. They've been outscored by 11 points in the first quarter of all of their games combined. But if you look at Vassar, it's even more extreme. Vassar has been outscored by almost 50 points in the first quarter of their games so far this year. I'm looking for Vassar to try to get out early and get some buckets early so that they can kind of start by controlling the game. Because if they get behind early, it's going to be hard to come back against this Ithaca team.
Certainly is. And now also for Ithaca, we talked about Vassar shooting the ball well. Ithaca, from behind the arc, has not shot the ball well this season so far. Only 26%, and 26.6, so you could say 27% either way. But also, a lot of that is due to Zoraida shooting around over 50% from three-point range. So not a lot of lasers on this team. Is that going to be a factor? And do you think they look to give them shots in this game and keep them away from the basket?
Yeah, I think that especially after last game, no Zoraida against Scranton. Ithaca shot 3 for 17, only 17.6% from the three-point line. I think it's going to be really challenging for Ithaca to try to create offense. So I think you will see Vassar kind of let them take those threes, let them earn their respect before they start going out there and guarding them, and kind of trying to let them do as much as they can before they start to act on it.
Yeah, and another interesting stat that I want to bring up that we talked about before we were getting on the air was obviously they say for any sport a game can be won in the trenches, and in basketball that happens down low, and it happens with rebounding. Ithaca, when you look at the numbers, a much better rebounding team, having 3 players that average over 7 rebounds and another with 6. And I'm looking
the game, and Vassar actually had 0 fast break points their last game against SUNY New Paltz. So look for them to kind of, I don't think they're going to try to do anything too special here. I think they're going to kind of stick with their game plan, stick with their sharpshooters, and try to, win the game that way.
Certainly, certainly. And now let's swing it back over to Ithaca's side of the ball. Obviously, we talked about it early. The injury, well, no, we don't know if it's necessarily injuries. We have not talked to the coaches, but obviously Emily Dorn and Zoraida Ikabalseta both DMPs the last game. Do you think possible injury could affect this game, and do they look to be careful?
Yeah, we as you mentioned before, we haven't really talked too much about to the Ithaca coaches, but we'll see if they're going to be on a minutes restriction tonight. We'll see if they look a little bit underprepared or anything at all. The lack of game, or the fact that they didn't play last game might come into play later down the stretch. But we'll see. The only way to tell is to see what happens in going into this game.
Notably, indeed, Emily Dorn. Also, a quick note: Emily Dorn is 3rd in most minutes played for this Bombers team at 27. Now, for Vassar, obviously their top players. Obviously, they're capable of scoring double digits. Who's a player on Vassar that you think is a possibility that could have a nice breakout game tonight?
I kind of want to just focus mainly on senior point guard Eliza Cernavesian. Coming into this game, she's only really averaging 3.5 points a game, but her facilitating is something that goes, underappreciated a lot of the time. She's averaging about 6 assists a game and had 9 assists in this past game against SUNY New Paltz. And she's playing over 35 minutes a game for this Vassar College team. So we'll see how she can do this game. I've been really interesting to see what she'll do tonight.
Very interesting indeed. All right, now let's talk about a couple other players. We talked about her a little bit early. Cameron Coffey, a notable player on this team, was a huge part of their run last season to a Liberty League title. Off to a slow start. What do you think she needs to do to get out of this slow shooting slump?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has slumps in the pro level, and unfortunately for Cameron Coffey so far, she's only shooting 25% from the field and 20% from 3. I feel like it comes with just playing the game. Over time, you get out of the slump, you'll catch a hot streak. Let's hope that tonight she can kind of get it going on the shooting side and provide some much needed points for this Ithaca team.
Indeed. Also, let's talk about another player, obviously the leading scorer of this team, Emily Dorn. A junior last year, was the 6th man of this team, and she was a big part of this team going on their run to a Liberty League title, into the NCAA. Now she becomes, you could argue, the focal point and arguably the captain of this team, and she's taking that starting spot, and she's obviously the leading scorer. What do you see from her early this season that you've liked?
I just really love her efficiency so far. As we talked about earlier, shooting 50% from the field and about 71% from the line so far. She's dominated the boards in the games that she's played. I know we mentioned she didn't play last game, but she's been like that person for Ithaca, leading the team in scoring, 2nd in rebounds on the team, and shooting 50% from the field. It's been a great season so far from Emily Dorn. Hopefully she continue it.
We've talked a lot about offense, and we're about to wrap up soon, but let's talk quickly about, obviously, they say games are won with offense, but championships are won with defense, and this team, when it comes to defense, it starts and ends with Cara Volpe. What have you seen from her this year so far that you like? Only averaging 7 points a game, but obviously she's known for defense and all the nitty-gritty things. Yeah,
so far Volpe has had a pretty good season so far, on the boards as well, averaging over 6 per game, about the 4th leading rebounder on this team. She's also mentioned to have, she's also had some good defensive stats with steals and blocks, not turn the ball over too much, which is something that's really important for this Ithaca team tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're just nearly wrapping up here. Before we go, Connor, give me your score prediction for tonight.
Well, considering that Ithaca's scored about 62 points a game and Vassar's under 60, I'm gonna go with a bigger score tonight. I'm gonna go Ithaca 71, Vassar 56.
Very interesting, very interesting. I like it. Not a bad score. I'm going to go myself. I'm going to say Ithaca 68. I'm going to go Vassar 53. I think it's going to be a nice win for the Bombers. That's all the time we have for on the pregame show. Stay with us on the Athletic Stream. Jack Gasol and Connor Smith. We will be back at halftime, but don't go anywhere because coming up shortly, we will have tip-off, and we're going to swing it over to Ethan Birch and Cameron Manna. Stay with us.
The energy inside Ben Lamb Gymnasium is on full display for Friday Night Hoops as the number 14 Ithaca Bombers host the Vassar Brewers for the first Liberty League contest of the 2022 campaign. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ben Lamb Gymnasium alongside Ethan Birch. I'm Cam Manna as the Bombers get set to defend their conference title. And Ethan, it's against a familiar foe in Vassar, and we'll talk about it in just a second. But first, we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And as the national anthem comes to an end here at Ben Lamb Gymnasium, we get set for starting lineups and the start of the Liberty League campaign. And Ethan, you talk about Vassar and Ithaca. These two teams, they split last season. They finished top in the regular season in the Liberty League at 16-1. Two powerhouses last season, and they face off here back where the season ended last year as well.
Just another chapter for Ithaca and Vassar, Cam. I mean, these two women's basketball programs have a deep history, specifically in the last 3 years. Let's kind of summarize a little of the action. In 2019, that was one of the first significant significant matchups that Ithaca and this team had in recent history. It was the Liberty League Championship where Grace Cannon locked in one of the biggest shots in Ithaca women's basketball history, a buzzer beater to win the entire conference and send Ithaca to the national tournament. Obviously, COVID cuts out a season, but Ithaca and Vassar come back last season. Vassar beats Ithaca on the first conference game of the season. What looking like was set the tone. Ithaca goes on a massive winning streak. They don't meet again until the last game of the regular season, and that game held huge significance because it already said who would host that tournament in the conference. Ithaca won it. Ithaca would win the Liberty League, and now these two teams finally get to meet again on the opener of the 2022 season. Ithaca has a lot to prove coming into this season after losing some key contributors, and I think they're in good hands.
4-1 on the season to start. They're 1-0 at home. That was a SUNY Cortland opening W, and the Vassar Brewers 2-4 in the season, have not won a game yet on the road. Ethan, last season for the Bombers, it was make it count. Now that motto is more, and they want more. We saw what they did last year. This is a talented team, but you lose Grace Cannon, you lose Megan Yaman. Now they need that more mentality for these players to step up this season.
Cam, you said it yourself. This is about wanting more. This is an Ithaca Bombers team who's won 3 consecutive Liberty League championships, and that's not an exaggeration. That's 3 in a row. They want more, and they know they have the talent to do it.
Both teams getting set here to open up the Liberty League season, and your starters for the Bombers, Cameron Coffey and Kara Volpe, will be your guards and forwards. Natalie Smith running the point, the junior point guard, and then Lindsay Albertelli coming back for her grad senior season, and Emily Dorn, the senior, as well. She'll be the other forward position. And for Vassar, Julia Harvey, she'll be one of the guards for this team, a sophomore, a freshman standout last season. Bellatani, a guard as well from Simsbury CT. Alex Lee, your small forward, Eliza Srinivasan, and Gelba Tolva will round out the lineup for the Brewers. Dorn and Tani at midcourt to tip this one off. 10 minutes on the clock. And we are about to get set. The Bombers looking to defend their title as conference champs, and it starts tonight. The tip is won by Vassar, and Julia Harvey, the sophomore standout, starts with possession. And Srinivasan here up top. This Vassar team, a top defensive team last season. The offense did struggle, 56 points per game at the moment. A drive here from Lee towards her right side, pivoting on the block, looking for a cutter, goes back up top to Julia Harvey. Harvey right side, trying to pick and pop, she can't. Back up top here to Tolva. Tolva guarded by Dorn. Looks down low, this pass almost intercepted, thrown up and good. And Vassar strikes first. It's Tawny, the 6'2 forward.
I think Vassar just gets their mismatch that they were looking for down there. Obviously, Tawny had the height.
Here are the Bombers' first possession on the offensive side of the night. Dorn up top goes to Natalie Smith. Smith, the senior point guard, looking to step up in Grace Cannon's absence. Down low, Dorn. Dorn lays it up and good. The leading point scorer for the Bombers gets them on the board.
I was about to say, she's the leading point scorer for that specific reason. Natalie Smith and that backcourt do a fantastic job of feeding her and giving her those opportunities. I mean, a beautiful feed led to an easy bucket.
2 points for both squads in the first minute of this one. Vassar here looking to respond. It's Srinivasan, the team's leading points per game player. And it's a pass intercepted here by Albertelli. Bombers with the push, one of the best teams in transition last season. Here's Coffey, the sharpshooter from 3 goes to Natalie Smith. Smith with the moves, goes far baseline, now to Volpe. Volpe with some room towards the paint, kicks out Coffey. There's the sharpshooter, she fires, she has it. Coffey strikes from deep.
Yeah, that was what Cam Coffey's profile consisted of last year. When she really started to pick up the minutes, she shot the basketball really efficiently, and right away they get your best shooter involved.
Bombers leading 5-2 here. Srinivasan on the pick and roll with Harvey. Harvey last season, she fires a 3 here, can't respond. Albertelli with the rebound. Harvey was a big part of that Vassar team. The seniors leave, now the sophomore in a big role. Here's Albertelli on the baseline. 6 points per game on the season, started 27 of 28 games last year. Volpe now, coming back for her 5th year with the Bombers. Last season, a special player on the fast break, 3rd on the team in points per game. Albertelli looking for the pass, can't get it to go, holds on to almost the turnover. Can't convert, but there's Natalie Smith with the rebound. Now back to Coffey. Volpe drives left, her dominant side lays one up, no good. Rebounded by Tawny, and Vassar the other way.
It looked a little awkward there. You said her dominant side, but she went up with the right hand. May have tried to draw contact for an N1, but she's a really aggressive player. Another display of that right there.
A jump ball, and Ethan mentioned it. Volpe does it on both sides of the court and runs so fast in transition. Can play the 1 through 4.
Yeah, I mean, she's also a very composed and poised player as well, Cam. Yeah, obviously she runs really hard, but she is always in full control of the ball, and that's what makes her so good. And, this is why Ithaca wanted her back so badly. You have another year of eligibility. Come win another championship with us, or come try to at least.
Dorn goes Natalie Smith. Smith fires a three from the corner. This one's no good. And going the other way now, rebounded by Tolva. Here comes Srinivasan. Vassar loves to work in transition, Ethan. One of the fastest teams as well compared to the Bombers last year in the athleticism category. Harvey looking to pass. Volpe all over. Sticks here with the Brewers.
Yeah, I mean, Cam, this Vassar team graduated Danny Douglas and Sarah Galoli. Those were two of the better players in the Liberty League. And, you just talk about that fast, quick mentality of running the floor up and down. Those two were two huge factors in that aspect.
Bombers now want to do the same. Run the floor here. Volpe, left side. This one can't go. Two chances for Volpe. Can't convert a jump ball here. Tawny and Dorn looking to get on the floor. But the Vassar Brewers will take it here. Tawny, one of the tallest players on the team, as Annabelle Yorio, the sophomore, will check in. And Ethan, you talk about Yorio for this team. She's expected to really step up in a big role as a sophomore this year, especially at that forward position.
Ken, the game changes for Ithaca when you lose Meg Yama and Grace Cannon, because those were two of your more dynamic scorers. The offense is going to change a little bit. And now Annabelle Yorio, as a sophomore, obviously has proved early on that she's capable of doing a lot in the paint, and they're going to test her early on in her career. This is someone who Ithaca is very, very excited about for the future.
Being tested right there. A foul called. It's going to go against Yorio, guarding Alex Lee. 8.2 points per game for the senior guard in Lee. A bigger role this year, as Ethan mentioned, Danny Douglas and Gilole gone on this Brewers squad. 16-1 in the conference last season, equivalent with the Bombers. Here's Vassar, down 5-2. 6 minutes here left to go in the first. Here's Julia Harvey, the sophomore. Trying to get down low. The pump fakes. This one can't go. Front iron. Albertelli and Smith now will control it for Ithaca.
Yeah, not a lot of scoring early on. Maybe some nerves kicking in early on in this conference play, Cam.
Smith and the foul. Natalie Smith going to the line for one more here. Bombers commanding after Vassar struck first here in the first.
You know what I love to see right out of the bat? Natalie Smith's confidence. This is someone who very early on in the season, and as the midway point of the season progressed, Natalie Smith showed hesitation to shoot the basketball. And maybe that was because of some surrounding pieces, but right now you can tell the confidence in Natalie Smith. She knows she's improved in the scoring column and already has herself a couple points and now a chance for more. And it's very obvious what is going through her mind right now, Cam.
Smith converts the and one. Hannah Polche, the junior, she'll check in. Another three-point sharpshooter alongside Cameron Coffey. Srinivasan here comes to the near side. Tolva trying to work it around to Harvey. Harvey on the elbow, driving on Coffey. Srinivasan, a far side three, back iron no good. Ball being tipped around. Yorio looking for possession. She's now on the floor, could be a jump ball. Vassar has it, throwing up an acrobatic shot from the floor is Harvey. Now the Bombers with it with some numbers. Smith, far side Polche, the three-point shooter, puts it up. This one no good. Vassar fighting for it downtown. Albertelli keeps the possession alive. Here's Coffey looking for her second three of the night. She's got it. Cameron Coffey shot 30% from three last season, starting to find her stroke from deep.
Yeah, I mean, those are a couple wide open looks, Cam. I mean, when all of your attention is on Natalie Smith driving the basket along with, Albertelli and company, it makes it hard to almost contest Coffey as well.
Lee can't convert. And now Natalie Smith, 3 points already, goes to Polche. The Bombers 4-1 coming off a loss against number 10 Scranton. Now back at home, Coffey, the Euro step foul, and she'll go to the line for two right here. Cameron Coffey, the aggressor early for the Bombers offense.
Yeah, I mean, Cam, that's also something I don't know if you saw very often, is Cameron Coffey pump fake and drive the lane. Another example of improvements from last year, and that's going to happen. Junior to senior year, you really to start to figure out your strengths and weaknesses, and right away, Natalie Smith and Cameron Coffey displaying what they worked on immediately, and from the Ithaca standpoint, I'd love to see that.
Coffey's first free throw is good. Zoraida Ikabalseta, the Bombers' freshman star, is into the game here. Had 19 points in the first game of her collegiate career against SUNY Cortland in overtime victory. And the only game that's been played here on the 2022 campaign. Coffey converts once again. Bombers lead by 11.
I mean, she was fantastic. I think this is, when you're talking about Ithaca women's basketball right now, she's one of the first names that pops up to your head as a freshman, Cam.
Lee down low, acrobatic shot. Good defense by Polche. Lee will reset here for the Brewers. Here's Julia Harvey up top, looking to spark an offensive push. Lee guarded by Polche. Tries to go left side. Few nice moves. Down the lane. Throws one up. Foul called on the floor. Shot won't count. It's going to be against Polche, her first foul of the night.
Yeah, I mean, this Vassar team needs to get some points on the board right now because already down 11 against a team in Ithaca who's averaging nearly 65 points a game, you're going to find yourself in some trouble if you can't get into this game and get into it fast because Ithaca is a proven team under Coach Dan Raymond to run away with scores.
Few whistles blown here. Harvey, that offensive push, now off. And Nia Kernick, the freshman forward, into the game here. Vassar down by 11, looking for an opportunity here. Srinivasan leads the team in minutes per game, goes right side. The finger roll, no good. And here's the freshman star, Iqbal Seta. Iqbal Seta to Dorn. Dorn, the leading point scorer. Back to the freshman. Now here's Coffey. 8 points already for number 22. Bombers with some ball movement here. They love to play the patient card and work their big players down low in the pick and rolls. Here's Coffey, goes right side. Good pass down low, intercepted. Vassar, their defense now on full display, slowing down the transition. And leading them here, who checked in the game just recently, is Sierra McDermott. Here's Seichman, she checked in as well. Vassar with some patience here. The Bombers' perimeter defense is nice to see. A drive down low, no good once again. That's McDermott, and here's Yorio running the floor. Now to Polche here. Bombers looking to add to their big lead. 3:50 left to go in the first. Yorio down the lane, finger roll, no good. Both teams, Ethan, here, the last few transitions, a lot of missed layups for both sides.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious what's going on right now. Vassar's lucky that Ithaca isn't knocking down any of these shots because Ithaca's defense is superior right now. Locking down the paint, the perimeter's not open as well. I mean, what do you do if you're the Brewers right now?
Srinivasan, 3.5 points per game, plays a lot. A nice move here from McDermott. Goes down the lane, that one's good. The finger roll finally converting here for Vassar. Trying to cut that lead down early in this one, but it's been all Bombers so far. Here's Polche.
Yeah, Vassar needed that one really, really badly, just to swing a little bit of momentum on your side.
Here's Iqbal Seta, a standout player, first team All-State in Virginia. This ball almost stripped away. Bombers will take it in the backcourt. It was tipped. Back to Iqbal Seta. First team All-State in Virginia. Here's Yorio. 4 seconds on that shot clock. Dorn, the reverse, puts one up. No good. But Bombers get a new possession. Vassar not on the rebound. Far side, Iqbal Seta. Coffey, her second rebound of the night. Coffey to Dorn. Dorn works better down low. Has the guard, Iqbal Seta. 8 seconds back on that shot clock. Bombers got to get a shot off. Yorio, far side, Polche. Now 4. Polche fires a 3. This one's no good. Boxing out is Vassar. They can't get it once again. Yorio, ball over the place. Coffey, the floater. Back iron once again. Dorn has it. Now a jump ball. And Ethan, multiple chances here for Vassar. The rebound's not in their favor.
No, second chances, third chances, fourth chances, Cam. Ithaca's getting a lot of them, and Vassar is so lucky right now that Ithaca is not knocking down any of these shots, but also, you gotta tip your cap. They're playing really good perimeter defense, and even when Dorn had opportunities, great contest under the rack. I mean, this is a really all of a sudden, this last 5 minutes have turned into a really fun defensive battle.
Pass to Dorn, foul called against Vassar. Jillian Payne now checks into the game, the sophomore guard for Cameron Coffey. And Polche now here down low. 2:20 left to go. And Ethan, so far, it's been a defensive battle, but the Bombers have had those opportunities. The story so far, Cameron Coffey from downtown.
Yeah, I mean, Coffey's hit her shots. Smith's looked good. And then all over the place, good plays, just they're not dropping, Cam. And that's going to happen. You're not going to score on every single trip down. But it's very important for Ithaca to maintain their good defense because they're not letting anything easy up for Vassar. Take away that one layup, Ithaca's been fantastic defensively. That's the key to winning basketball games, and I think Ithaca knows that when eventually the shots will fall down.
Polche, far side for Dorn, pull-up jumper, in and out. And now Vassar with it once again. Jill Payne guarding Srinivasan on the full court press. A nice defensive stand there for the Brewers. Up top here, Vassar moving it around. Delb and Seichman. There's Seichman down low, almost tipped around by Jill Payne. Great pass. The floater, this one is up, and this one is almost good by Kernick. Can't convert. 0 for 2 to start her night. And Iqbal Seta now to Polche. Polche 0 for 2 from deep. Going to change that here, far side Joel Payne, but Vassar intercepting passes, just making it very hard on the Bombers to get into rhythm here.
The only thing I see, Cam, right now is 10 players on each trip holding their hands up in the air. I mean, this is just a really good defensive battle, especially when Ithaca jumped down to a 13-2 lead with still, 5-6 minutes left in this quarter. I mean, not that the tables have turned. Ithaca's maintained that good defense, but Vassar has stepped it up, and this is the Vassar team that won 16 games in the conference last year.
Polche here to Ithaca Balsetta. Back to Albertelli. Trying to find Julian Payne. She will. The point guard here goes to Polche. Now to Albertelli. Top of the key. Down low. Dorn. Dorn holding her body. Throwing on one up on the reverse. This one's tipped out of bounds. And it will go with Vassar. And a lot of mid-range shots down low. Bombers can't convert. And some substitutions here. Watkins will be in the game for the Bombers.
This is a tough game, Cam. It really is. You can tell that the intensity is here. This is not non-conference anymore. These are league games, conference games that matter. And, there's just a different mindset as a competitor when those games mean that much more. And you can tell that even though the score is a touch lopsided, Vassar's only a run away from getting right back in it.
Both teams play their best basketball in the conference. Here's Kernick. Pass to Tani. Tani throwing one up. She's blocked. Oh, a foul called. The Bombers wanted the block for Albertelli. Led the team in that category last season, but Tani will get 2 shots here from the stripe.
Oh, Raymond wanted it. The bench wanted it. This whole stadium wanted that block to count. Albertelli posted up a block party in last year's NCAA tournament, specifically against Catholic, and, she's the master at that, and she comes that close to blocking the 6'2 Tani, who obviously has the height on Albertelli, but not by much.
5 games so far for Albertelli and 5 blocks. The first free throw from Tani is in and out, toilet bowl. 13-4 game here. Defense has been the story. Ethan Birch and Cam Manna with you. Vassar looking for some points. Tani will give it to them. 1 for 2 from the stripe. And the Bombers moving it quickly here. Zoraida Cabalchetta comes near side Polche. Polche to Albertelli. Bombers playing the patient card. Payne wants Polche down low. Goes back up top to Watkins, who just checked in. The speedy Ikabalchetta at guard goes to Polche. Polche 0 for 2 from 3. Back to Albertelli. A far jumper. Can't get it to go back iron. Polche with a rebound. That's been the story for the Bombers. Second chance opportunities. And now under a minute left to go in the first. Polche wanted Jill Payne on the back door. She slips. No foul called. And Vassar will get it. So they've stood tall on defense. Points are not there, but they're keeping themselves in this game. Not giving the Bombers any easy chances.
That's been the most impressive part for Vassar, although they haven't shot the ball well. Neither has Ithaca, thanks to this fantastic defensive battle we have right here. Tight coverage. It's all man right now, Cam, and it's been really, really fun to watch.
Tani going down low. On Watkins, throws one up. Foul called. And actually a traveling violation. Tani lost her footing on the pivot on the block. Good defense from Watkins, the sophomore. And a substitution here back in the game is Seichman for the Brewers.
Watkins kind of just illegally lays her body into Tani, and Tani is forced to take an extra step there. That's, again, another good example of strong defense in the paint right here, and you love to see it, especially from some young contributors.
Here's Ikabalchetta to Payne. Now to Albertelli. Bombers have not been able to get inside the paint. The perimeter defense from Vassar has been special so far. Albertelli looking to change it. Back outside to Ikabalchetta. Leads the team in field goal percentage and from 3. This pass almost intercepted. Albertelli keeps it 8 on the shot clock, 12 on the game clock. Jill Payne fires a far side 3. This one's good. Jill Payne getting on the board from deep, and that can end off the first quarter. Last chance here for Vassar. A half-court shot from McDermott. This one's no good. Defense on full display. Jill Payne gives the Bombers a 16-5 lead after 1. And Ethan, the Bombers have converted when they've had to so far, but the Vassar offense not there so far here from Ben Lane.
They're not really helping themselves out. And you know what? Ithaca's defense has been so impressive. I think it's been more impressive than their offense because of how many extra opportunities that offense has had. But, you know, Ithaca is always good in that transition game. And towards the end of that shot clock, they needed to get one there. And Jill Payne, only a sophomore, someone who didn't play at all last year due to injury, comes up with a transition triple. You know, this is an Ithaca team that, you know, is looking for anyone and everyone to step up, and it feels like, okay, who are we going to go to? We have this many players who can shoot the basketball from deep, and, you know, it brings up one of those arguments and conversations that you would like to have, not, oh, who do we have to go to, or who do we go to? I mean, we have a lot of options, and Ithaca, you're right, their offense on full display right now. yes, a lot of missed shots. In all honesty, they probably should have double the points they do right now. But, you credit your defense. You look back on that, and you work off that. There's still 4 quarters of basketball for a reason.
Dan Raymond in his 23rd season, 465 wins, and a great assistant coach in Jim Mullins, who's had his history with the men's basketball team here at IC. And they're a well-coached basketball team, and I think that goes back to the depth of this team. When you have people that can step up, that's great for a head coach like Dan Raymond. He's got all these weapons he can bring off the bench at any moment, in any game, at any time.
I mean, Cam, how often do you lose one of your 2 best players on the team, and then you come back the next year and you're just as competitive, maybe even more competitive than you were the few years prior? I mean, I've said this now a couple times. Dan Raymond has held a dynasty throughout his Ithaca tenure. Almost 500 wins as a head coach, 3 straight conference championships. I mean, he is rolling, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to stop him. But again, still 3 quarters of basketball left. It's only 11-point game. Vassar, a team that has been proven to be competitive in conference play, just a young team, and we'll see how they progress through 4 quarters of this one.
Here's Srinivasan on the far side. Vassar starts with possession. Up top here is Sykman, fires a triple. This one rolling around, can't get it to go. Not the lucky bounce in the favor of Vassar. And Volpe on the other way here, checking back into the game for Ithaca. It's Polce, Payne, Icabalchetta, Albertelli, and Volpe into the game for the Bombers. Albertelli looking for that backdoor cut, you can't get it. Volpe does everything for this team, trying to go left side, far side, Polce, pump fakes, now baseline, goes down low, Albertelli. The step back jumper, the moves, throws one up, this one's in. Marvelous from Lindsay Albertelli, keeping the possession alive for Ithaca.
Yeah, I mean, she's working right on Caroline Siekman, a young player compared to Albertelli, who's in her senior/grad year. She takes advantage of a fake on the low post and has herself an easy layup with a good pivot.
Here's Alex Lee, guarded by Icabalchetta, trying to go left side, driving down the lane with the contact. This one's no good. Good defense from the freshman. Now she has possession here, trying to hold it for the Bombers. Polce on the near side. We know what she can do from 3. Shot over 30% last season. Volpe on the far side here, once Polce on the block. Polce, a little bit of a baby hook. This one rolls in and out. Both teams not with the lucky bounces here in the second.
Here, Vassar hurries. They got a fast break here.
Srinivasan wanted it, now steps back, had the 3-ball, setting up here for the Brewers. 18-5 game, 8 minutes left to go in the half. Good defense from Icabalchetta. Now back to Kernick up top, goes far side. This one tipped out of bounds. Polce with the defense, and that Bombers perimeter press. Both teams have made it very tough on that 3-ball so far in this one.
Yeah, and you know what? I just saw Eliza Srinivasan after passing up that 3 and then almost getting the ball stolen before getting rid of it, and she had such a frustrated face cam, and that's exactly how I'd characterize this game for Vassar. Extremely frustrating. A couple shots that went in and out, and then Ithaca just swallowing the passing lanes. Perfect example of Polce doing that right there.
Srinivasan here on the near side to Hearns, fires a 3. That's an air ball thrown up here, and a great play by Gelbatova. Staying alive for Vassar. You talk about the energy in Liberty League play shown right there from the Brewers.
Yeah, that's hustle and heart right there. A team that really needed a bucket, and the sophomore goes out and gets that bucket.
Here's Albertelli, the grad senior. Goes to Smith baseline. Far side, Icabalchetta fires a triple. This one is up. This one's in and out once again. Ball being thrown down low. Now the Brewers with some numbers. Srinivasan on the far side here, trying to slow it down. Goes down low to Lee. Intercepted once again. Natalie Smith now on the fast break to Albertelli. Once Volpe. Volpe leaps. Throws one up on the reverse, and it's blocked. And the Brewers now back with it once again. Let's see if they slow it down here on their possession, and they will.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there. A couple different transition opportunities. In all honesty, if you're Natalie Smith there, slow the ball up. You don't have numbers in your favor. You're most likely going to put someone in an awkward situation. However, Ithaca did make the magic almost happen there. They got Volpe on a good look, just couldn't put it in at the end of the day.
Sykman down low, the baby hook off the glass, no good. Albertelli tips it to Coffey, and the Bombers playing stellar defense in the paint. Now Natalie Smith, the southpaw, throws one up, no good. Once again, open shots and missed opportunities for both teams, but shown there back-to-back times for the Bombers. Here's Lee, fires a triple. This one front iron. Smith with it once again, and Ethan finally slowing it down here for both teams. Smith and Icabalchetta, the guards, looking to brew something up here for the Bombers. Volpe, take Icabalchetta. Had the floater, won't take it. Back out to Volpe once again. Far side Coffey, 6 minutes left to go in the half. Here's Smith. Deep jumper from the elbow, front iron, backboard, no good once again. Very close shots for both teams here, but good full court defense from Smith. Srinivasan's got to get it over, and she will to Lee.
Almost stole it from Serena Vossen. Serena Vossen almost 50 steals last season. Almost a taste of her own medicine.
6 minutes now in the half. Serena Vossen, far side Lee. Lee goes right side on Albertelli. A mismatch. And Albertelli, a block party here. And what she did last season, turning it right over here in 2022. Here's Natalie Smith back to Volpe. Bombers with an 18-7 lead. Back to Albertelli, top of the key. Guarded by Tolva, goes to Ikabalcheta. Triple. Front iron, no good once again. And taken here by Vassar. Both teams not finding their spark on the offensive side. And here's a Hearn for the Brewers.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a sloppy start for both teams, Cam. The shots aren't going. Ithaca's had a lot of open looks. And, if this game gets close, you're going to look back at those because Vassar is kind of allowing the perimeter.
Tolva, the triple, nothing but net. Shooting 31% from three this season. A big part of this Brewers offense, and now an 8-point game. Smith to Albertelli. Both teams 16-1 in the conference last season. Volpe, left side, throws one up, and one! They call Tolva for a block down low. Volpe, one more chance at the line. Now Bombers back up by double digits.
I'll tell you, head coach Anthony Mason of Vassar, and specifically Gelb Tova, thought that Tova set her feet on the lane because the objective there is to get in the way of Cara Volpe, draw the contact, and get a charge goal. It goes the opposite way. Volpe, we just talked about it before, so aggressive when going to the rack. She's going to get there whether you like it or not, and this time she finishes, and it's just, Ithaca's going to need that this season. From who they lost, they need a key contributor to step back up, and Volpe was exactly that all of last year. Her aggressiveness won Ithaca championships.
Can't convert the N1, but the Bombers leading in the rebound department by a mile. Dorn to Yorio. Back to Volpe. Coffey looking for her third three of the night. This one way off, but Dorn with the rebound keeps it alive once again. Second chance opportunities for Ithaca so far in this first half. Smith to Coffey. Coffey baseline double teamed. A foul called once again. Looks like it's going to be on the floor, so Bombers will inbound here. But Ethan, you talk about Cara Volpe, 8 points per game on the season. She was third last season, and everyone knew if Volpe was going to come back, she was going to be the star of this team.
Yeah, and that's kind of the expectation here. And hashtag more. We want more. And we got these players back. They're not here just for a development stage. They're not here for a transition. They're here to win.
Yorio in the paint. A little finger roll. Oh, Annabelle Yorio. A beautiful finish down low. Bombers now lead by 12.
Yeah, and you know what? That looks like a Cara Volpe move. That's also what she's going to do for this team. She's going to help transition these young players like Annabelle Yorio into a superstar-esque role.
Yorio, her first points of the night. Here's Vassar. Here's Tash Thompson checking in for the first time here. Comes in the corner, driving down low is Koenig. The finger roll off the glass and in. Vassar not going away. Both teams back and forth, aggressive defense. The start of the Liberty League season, both teams. The energy is there early on, especially in December. Fresh legs from both sides. Volpe to Yorio. Yorio once Dorn on the cut. Volpe could play the 1 through 4. Playing the 2 here. Coffey down low, gets blocked. Now Vassar with some momentum on the fast break here. Alex Lee and company over midcourt. Lee comes to the corner. This is a 3 from McDermott. Back iron no good. Volpe, her third rebound of the night, gets double teamed. Finds Yorio, and now the Bombers in transition. They'll slow it.
You know what? That's what Vassar did so well last year. They pushed you on defense, made you lose the ball, and then they would run a fantastic transition offense. Maybe one of the better ones in the country. However, obviously, with the loss of Douglas and Giluli, it makes it a little bit harder, but, this is a very young team, Cam. As the season progresses, that transition offense will get back to where it was.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Coffey for 3. She's got it. Cameron Coffey, 3 for 4 from deep. Brewing from behind the arc.
Just a matter of time, Cam. You can only flirt with fire for so long, and now these shots for Ithaca finally starting to drop.
25-12 lead. McDermott down the lane. Back-to-back possessions for Sierra McDermott. From Antonio, Texas, making a play there on Coffey. 25-14. When the Bombers answer the bell, Vassar comes right back. Here's Volpe, has Coffey. Coffey baseline, she's been a star so far. Foul on the floor on Tawny, her second of the night. But Ethan, the 3 ball from Coffey. She's been struggling, 21% so far on this season, but today, 3 for 4 from behind the arc.
Yeah, I mean, she's shooting the lights out of this place right now, and, that's Cameron Coffey at her best. Her catch-and-shoot game is as good as anyone in this conference and in Division III basketball. So, when you get her going, it's just such a game changer.
And showing she can pass it as well. Yorio, 4 points now on the night, and the Bombers now getting in their rhythm here. A struggling first quarter, now lead 27-14. Here's Srinivasan, a screen from Tani. The perimeter defense of the Bombers. It's been on full display all night. Srinivasan, right side, throws one up. Once Tani on the pass. Going to be off the hand of Coffey. Surprise Tani on just an absolute laser down low. But Vassar, they've had trouble getting down low, and that's the size of the Bombers. You have Albertelli, Dorn, Volpe, Coffey. The list goes on. The Bombers play very good defense in the interior.
Yeah, I mean, they're super diverse in the paint, and that's what makes this team so good. They add Yario into the mix after she didn't get much playing time. It looked like Tani just stepped out of bounds, but this team is just so diverse, Cam. They got the players who can play the paint. They got Smith and the young guards who can play and move the ball quickly, and then the shooters in Coffey and Polche. This is a very well-rounded Ithaca team.
They have everything they need to succeed and defend their title. Coffey gets a screen, goes Albertelli to Polche. Ethan mentioned the three-point shooter. This one not there. Yorio with the save. Albertelli, they're going to call Yorio out of bounds. Would have been a fantastic play. And we saw the Bombers last season keep possessions alive late in that season. Marvelous plays down low. Almost a chance right there. But a big lead here, Ethan. 27-14. Almost done with the first half of play here in the conference opener.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, although the shots are knocking down, fantastic ball movement by Ithaca. They've had the open shots because of how good they move the rock.
Here's Harvey, the sophomore standout. 11 points per game on the season, a team leading. Goes to Tash Thompson, back to Harvey. 1 of the 3, can't get it. Stepped out of bounds once again. Back-to-back turnovers for Vassar. They had a chance, can't convert. Substitution here for the Brewers. Maddie Aherd back in the game.
Yeah, a couple mental errors here. Stepping out of bounds on the line in front of the bench. That's 2 times in a row. Back-to-back possessions. Listen, I get it happens once, but, coughing up 2 possessions in a row, down 13 in the first half, you're just not helping yourself out.
The number 14 Bombers, a commanding lead, 4-1 on the season. Volpe on the block, guarded by Harvey, goes to Yorio. Yorio, the sophomore, to Albertelli. The reverse, this one is good. The baby hook from Lindsay Albertelli, her 6th point of the night.
Yeah, she's working on the young Tash Thompson, only a sophomore. I mean, that's a classic pump fake spin around to your non-dominant side and laying it off the glass. That's textbook from Lindsay Albertelli.
Buck 20 left remaining here. Tash Thompson, good defense from Coffey, stays here with the Brewers. But inch by inch, minute by minute, the Bombers getting into rhythm. And the offense, the ball movement, we didn't see it in the first. It was more of a 2-man game, but right now, a lot different here for Ithaca.
Yeah, Vassar's going to need a bucket or 2 to get back into this. They don't want to go into half trailing by nearly 20 points.
McDermott, beautiful pass to Harvey, throws one up, can't convert. Albertelli fighting for the rebound. And the Bombers will slow it down here. Final minute of the first half. 29-14 Ithaca. Volpe to Polche. To Coffey. Team leading right now in points in tonight's game. Albertelli back to Yorio. Good defense from Vassar here. 14 on the shot clock. Volpe down the lane. Throws one up with the contact. Carol Volpe. The righty floater going to her non-dominant hand. Bombers 30 points on the board.
I mean, that's her bread and butter. You can't give her the baseline. That's where Volpe plays her most effective basketball. She made that look easy.
Srinivasan going ISO. Comes down low. Beautiful pass. This one can't convert to Ahern. And Yorio now in transition. Bombers may hold it for 1 shot. 25 seconds and no shot clock. Here's Albertelli going right side, looking to kick out. A little bit of spin, baby hook. Albertelli. 8 points, all coming in the second. They don't hold for 1 shot. 33-14 Ithaca. Now Vassar quickly. Srinivasan to Harvey. Harvey not yet to score in this one. Fires a contested triple. Front iron rolls around, no good. 1 second on the clock, and that will do it for the first half of play here from Benlight Gymnasium. Bombers lead Vassar 33-14. And Ethan, a slow first quarter. Defense was the story, but the offense finally got in rhythm here for Dan Raymond's Bombers.
I mean, absolutely the story here right now, Cameron. Bombers shooting nearly 40% from the field. Vassar, 22%. A cool 1 for 10 from beyond the arc. You know, they're missing a lot of shots. Ithaca's defense has been fantastic, and Coffey's playing a fantastic game. 11 points, which leads the game. The Bombers have 4 steals and 3 blocks. I mean, if that doesn't tell you enough about how good this defense it is, that's how good it's been. And a huge lead, a 19-point lead. Ithaca's put themselves in the driver's seat headed into half.
Coffey, right now 11 points, the team leading, and Bombers up big, 33-14 after 2. Alongside Ethan Birch, I'm Cam Manna with you. We'll see you for the third quarter of play, but stick around for the halftime show.
Here we go, boys.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bombers basketball on the YouTube athletic stream. Jack Casello along Connor Smith. It is halftime, and the Bombers are out in front over Vassar College, leading 33-14. Connor, what do you like from the first half from the Bombers, which has given them a commanding lead?
Yeah, kind of like what we talked about at the beginning of this game, Jack. One of the big key components for this Bombers team to get the win was to rebound the ball good, and that's exactly what they did in the first half. They out-rebounded Vassar by 7, but mainly the offensive rebounds are huge. They doubled Vassar's offensive rebounds 8-4, and that allowed them to get second chance points and just really take command of this game.
Rebounding certainly leading to a lot. Let's talk defense for a minute before we get into the offense. Obviously, coming to this game, we expected Vassar College. They shoot 34% from behind the arc as a team. Only 1 3-pointer in that first half, and their top 2 guns, Julia Harvey and Sierra McDermott, both 0 points on the night.
Yeah, exactly. We expected Vassar to come in here and shoot the 3-ball well tonight. Only 10% from the field, 1 for 10. While Ithaca shooting impressive 36%. Their 3-point struggles had been a big point of emphasis this year so far, but shooting 4 for 11 from 3. And a couple of those 3 was your X factor, Cameron Coffey. Talk about that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cameron Coffey, she's done a great job. She's been getting separation, and she's shooting the ball with confidence for the first time in a couple of games. And obviously, you know, seeing the ball go through the net really does give a different kind of confidence in order to score. So it definitely is a good situation. Another surprising storyline so far. Zoraida, 0 points so far on the scoreboard. What do you think? And yet the Bombers are in command. How is that possible?
Yeah, well, we've seen Zoraida, coming off this last game where she didn't play, and Scranton. We didn't know how she would come off. We didn't know if it was an injury or she just sat the game for rest. But so far, no points, which has been a bit surprising. But other players such as Carolyn Coffey and Emily Dorn, picking up the slack offensively for Ithaca, to give them this 19-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like you mentioned, Emily Dorn, she's done a good job inside. What does Vassar need to do to stop the Bombers' attack?
Yeah, well, Vassar had a little bit of a good momentum towards the end of that first quarter. Ithaca jumped out to a 11-point lead early in the first quarter, but after that, they had a little bit of a dry spell scoring. Vassar seemed to kind of get physical and stop them in the paint from scoring a lot of their points. But after that, Ithaca Ithaca kind of picked it back up going into the second quarter. So for Vassar, it's kind of just, getting physical with them. Not letting them get those easy points in the paint, not letting them get second chance points on rebounds. They're going to have to look to do that to keep themselves in the game in the second half.
No doubt about it. Obviously, who's an X factor you have for the second half that you think can make an impact for both sides?
For the second half, I would like to see, Eka Balseta. I would like to see her get more involved in the second half. Quiet first half, no points. For her, it's been a lot of scoring this year, averaging 11 on the year. So 0 points. We'd like to see her get a little bit better for the second half, more efficient for shooting. And for Vassar, I think a big one is Julia Harvey. Julia Harvey. She hasn't had any points, and she's the leading scorer of Vassar. So getting her involved is going to be a big part of Vassar if they want to get back in the second half.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with both. I think Ika Balseta, she needs to get involved. She's averaging 11 points a game. She's been a contributor to the Bombers' hot start this season. And Julia Harvey, look, when your top dog isn't scoring, you're going to have problems. And that's a big problem, especially when it's your top two. One of you's got to step up to try and get your team back in this game. Defensively, what have you liked from both sides?
Well, I like how Vassar's was physical towards the end of that first quarter against Ithaca. They managed to slow them down and kind of get themselves back into the game. But for Ithaca, it's really been continuing their dominant turnover battle. As we saw in the first half, Ithaca had 4 steals in the first half, 2 in each quarter, which was a big thing that we kind of emphasized coming into this game. Vassar also has 7 turnovers so far at halftime, a little bit under their average of per game, but still doing a pretty good job. Ithaca is kind of pressuring Vassar and forcing them to make turnovers.
Yeah, and another interesting thing to note, not many free throws attempted in this game. As we mentioned, this game moved very fast. Not a lot of free throws, no timeouts. Only Bombers with 4 free throws, Vassar with only 2. Do you think both these teams need to get aggressive taking the ball to the cup more?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of we did see a good amount of fouls in the first half, but they were all kind of on the floor fouls, not really going up to the basket. But looking at Vassar's center, Bellatani, she came in with 27 free throws attempted through the first 6 games, which is by far the most on that team. So seeing her only get to the line once, those being only Vassar's 2 free throws, seems like that's going to happen more. Vassar's got to get to the line, earn their buckets, and kind of be more physical going to the basket.
No doubt about it. We have about 4 minutes left here on the halftime, maybe 5. We'll see how long we can push this thing too. But in the second half, what do you want to see Vassar do differently on offense? Should they be attacking more? Should they go threes? Maybe try a full court press, turn defense into offense?
There was 0 fast break points in the first half from either team, so that's really hasn't been a big factor. But Jack, looking at the way that Vassar's been playing, when they've had Bellatani on the court, they've decided to go with a 4-1, like 4 spread around the 3-point line and one person kind of sitting at the top of the key for like spacing. And when she's not on the court, we've seen like a 5 wide, everyone spread around the 3-point line, and that's helped them get a couple buckets. But going one-on-one to the paint every time hasn't been working for them as they're down by 19. So for them, it's going to be trying to move the ball fast at least, or get that pressure, kind of get turnovers, turn them into points, and kind of capitalize on that for them to get back in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's talk about another player that I think has played well tonight. Not known for scoring, but known for doing everything well, but having a nice scoring night so far, and that's Lindsay Albertelli. 3 of 5 in 15 minutes for 6 points. What do you see from her that you liked?
Yeah, she was my X factor coming into this game. She's played very well on defense so far, and really took control of the rebounds. She leads the team with rebounds at the half with 5, has a block and a steal to go along with it, and 6 points. It's been a great game from her so far. Not leading the team in scoring by any means, but she's there and she's making her presence felt.
Yes, certainly. We got 5 minutes left here. let's talk about what from these coaches do you think we could see from big adjustments?
Well, it's going to be, for me at least, looking at Ithaca, it's kind of going to be continuing what they had in the first half. It's really worked so far as they have the 19-point lead. But it's going to be, I'm going to be looking for the Vassar coach to kind of come out strong in the second half. A big point of emphasis we had before the game started was Vassar's slow starts that they had. In the first quarter, they got outscored 16-5, and in the second quarter, 17-9. So we're going to be looking for Vassar to kind of get out, get on the run, try to score buckets, put pressure on, and capitalize on those opportunities. Unfortunately, they've had their poor shooting so far, but they've got to look to turn that around.
Poor shooting indeed. How do you think a team, when you're known for shooting and there's not many other ways to score, when you only have two players in double figures, obviously it's a struggle. How do you look to find a different way to score, or do you keep firing?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like we talked about before the game with Carolyn Coffey. Kind of getting out of that little slump. One basket falls, you get that confidence boost, you get that morale boost to keep on going and to keep on trying. So for Vassar in the second half, after only shooting 22% from the field and 10% from three, they're going to have to look to try to get those baskets to fall. Even just a free throw kind of can boost your team's confidence any points at all. So they'll look to kind of just try to get as many points as possible, but it's hard when you're not really making the shots that you're supposed to be.
Getting to the line could be a big factor. The best way to get points, stop the clock as well, especially when you're down 19 points. Let's talk about players, obviously. Bombers up 19. This could be a game, if they're able to expand it, they could get see some players we're not used to seeing as much. Is there a player you'd want to see what they could bring for possibly down the line in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of Jillian Payne in the first half. She had the other three that Ithaca had, and she's playing some overall pretty good offense, moving the ball, setting screens, just like kind of stuff that you don't really get to see. Like, they're not on the stat sheet. So hopefully we'll get, if the game continues to be kind of this spacious game that Ithaca has, hopefully we can see her get some points off the bench and kind of gain some more confidence as the season goes.
Certainly, and obviously in these kind of games, this is a situation you have to take care of business, you have to be able to win it, and you'd like to see what else you have for further down the line. No, that is definitely a factor. Vassar struggling shooting the ball. Are they going to be able to figure that out? We're about to wrap up here. What do you have now as your halftime? Clearly, I don't know if they're going to get to 53, 56, I believe you said.
Yes.
What is your new score update?
Well, after this, I think that if Ithaca kind of relaxes in the second half and allows Vassar to score, I think they could get up to over 40 points. But I'm going to say the final score here now is going to be, I'm going to go with high 60s for Ithaca. So I'll go 67 to 45. 67-45, it'll be my final.
I said 68 for Ithaca. I think they're going to stay around that spot. And for Vassar College, I'm going to go with I'm going to say 47. So I think a nice 20-point win. That's all the time we have on the Athletic Stream halftime show. But stick with us, Cameron Manna and Ethan Birch coming back for the second half. And make sure to tune in after the game, as Connor and I will be back for the post game. But that's it for the halftime show. Don't go anywhere. Third quarter coming up next.
And welcome back to Ben Light Gymnasium for the second half. It's Ithaca and Vassar in the Liberty League Conference opener. Ethan Birch alongside Cam Manna as the Bombers hold a 19-point lead, ticking down to the final seconds for the second half. Cam, an explosive second half for Ithaca, dropping 33 points and really playing superb defense.
Yeah, superb defense. Cameron Coffey with the triple right now, and the Bombers have gotten their feet under them on offense, moving down low, playing that patient card. You don't got to rush. You got that 30-second shot clock, and the Bombers have used it to their advantage.
Coffey inbounds to Smith. Coffey leads the game in the point total, and a quick whistle flies to begin the second half. Coffey, 11 points, shooting 3 for 4 beyond the arc, and we'll do a quick reset here. But Cam Coffey's significance when she's making the three ball, it just makes this offense so much more diverse, Cam.
Yeah, 21% on the season. She struggled just a little bit, but when Coffey is playing well from behind the arc, it opens up Volpe down low. Smith can make her passes. Albertelli and Dorn can play the block. It helps the team so much more.
Coffey had a season-high 10 points coming into this game, and she broke that in one half, and that's just what lights-out shooting can do to you. Silent Ben Light Gymnasium, a very rare occurrence when this team's playing right now as we are waiting for the officials to get us going. Not really sure what's going on right now.
What just an interesting start to the second half. The energy was here, and now it's silent.
It looks like it's kind of died down, but, more about this game, Cam. Vassar is a strong, defensive team. They run the floor really well, and, they're huddled up right here. But, what have you seen in the first half from Vassar, which, they're not completely out of this game. It's a 19-point game, and, for the most part, they were in it. Ithaca ran away with it in the second half. What is one thing you want to see out of the Brewers in the second half to get themselves back into this thing?
Well, the movement hasn't been there for this team. They're trying to go to Julia Harvey, the sophomore in this team. We see her leading in points per game, but they're not playing that ball movement towards the perimeter that the Bombers have had. They're playing that ISO game with Srinivasan and Harvey, and when you play a one-on-one defense with the Bombers, Ithaca's usually going to win that battle. So if Vassar wants a chance here, pick and roll, work it down low.
Natalie Smith starts with the ball for the Bombers, now moving right to left in their navy blue home uniforms. Dorn at the top of the key. Again, Ithaca leads by 19. Here's Coffey, who leads the game with 11. Dorn, mid-range jumper, it's money. And Ithaca picks up right where they left off. They now lead by 21. This is their largest margin of the game for a team that has a 4.2 margin coming on into this one, and Dorn swipes it away from Harvey. Running the floor is Ithaca. Smith loses her dribble but works it back to Dorn. Dorn leads the teams in points per game. And she's obviously a key returner for the Bombers, played significant minutes in last year's NCAA run. The ball movement continues for the Bombers, and Coffey's total is up to 13, and the Bombers lead by 23, running away with this thing here early on in the second.
It's patient strike. Play the perimeter and get Vassar off guard, and the Bombers did it there.
Lee drives on both Albertelli and Dorn, and she is rejected. The ball doesn't make it to the rim, and here goes Ithaca the other way. Smith with a nifty move, kicks it back out. Albertelli in rhythm off the front iron.
You can see the Bombers here, though, to start the second half, playing with a lot more swagger than they did in that first half. They're moving the ball a lot different, a lot more confident, and trusting everyone on the floor. This is your best five right here.
You think that comes with just nerves of starting conference play, Cam? 100%. It's early on in the season, right?
Complete difference now. Feet under them, playing a lot better.
Tolva in rhythm for three, and it catches nothing. It's an air ball picked up by Cara Volpe, and here she goes the other way for Ithaca. Smith passes up a three and works it down into the low block, but Albertelli continues the ball movement for Ithaca. Now with a 23-point lead, you can not take your foot off the pedal, but you can slow the game down a little bit for yourself, and I'm sure that is what the 465-game winner Dan Raymond is telling his crew. Volpe right to the rack, no trouble for two more.
That's 8 passes right there, and then Volpe taking her time using all the shot clock, and then a drive. And right now the Bombers, a complete shift right now on that offensive side. The best we've seen them play so far this season on that end.
A 25-point lead to score 39-14 in the favor of the Bombers, and head coach Anthony Mason in his second season with the Vassar Brewers calls a timeout not even 2.5 minutes into this one. I mean, you go back to the final 4 minutes of the first half, this has been Ithaca's game since, and it almost seems like the first half was Ithaca's. The shots maybe just weren't falling going for the Bombers.
Yeah, and their offense too is very methodical, and it's one of those things where the shots may not be falling, but the way the Bombers play basketball is they involve themselves with everyone on the floor. We've seen Vassar right now. It's two players trying to ISO down low, maybe a drive and kick, but the Bombers, every single possession, it's a new player cutting to the basket, looking for coffee up top, so many different options. It's almost, you can think about it as everyone being a quarterback on the basketball court and having everyone run all these different routes, so many options for the Bombers, and right now it's worked out so well. That pass from Volpe before with Albertelli and working it around to Coffee, it's almost art right now.
You're right. And Ithaca, up to this point right now, the last 7.5 minutes, they are on a 21-4 run. I mean, this Vassar team has truly struggled offensively, and Ithaca will be on the defensive side as Vassar is looking to do all they can to crawl back into this one, but it's really not looking good for the Brewers. Srinivas driving on Natalie Smith. Natalie Smith with great defense, but Srinivas wins that battle and gets Vassar back into the scoring column in half number 2. Here's Natalie Smith shooting 1 for 4 with 3 points. 2 rebounds, 2 assists for the senior guard, and it's in the hands of Cameron Coffey, who's looking to make something of nothing. Just under 3 minutes into the second half. Volpe with the cross-court pass. Albertelli wants the lane. Albertelli had a couple feet out of bounds, and it's going towards the Brewers' way. Brewers trail by 23. And again, I mentioned this early on in the first half. This Brewers team graduated Danny Douglas, who averaged over 15 points a game, shot nearly 40% from beyond the arc, and Sarah Giluli, who averaged just under 15 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 4 assists per game. She was everywhere as Julia Harvey, who was on that team last year, now as a sophomore, comes up empty on a 3-point attempt.
And she's the player they need to step up.
Coffee in rhythm. She wants another. She's not going to get it as it clanks off the rim, off the backboard, and Srinivas picks up the rebound, averaging just under 4 rebounds a game. Almost throws it away, but Eliza Srinivas, now a senior for the Brewers, was a big factor. She was kind of the number 3 right behind Douglas and Galuli, and I'm sure head coach Anthony Mason's going to want her to evolve her game as we move on in this season. But a great pass down low and a bucket for Caroline Siekman. And Vassar with 4 straight points following the timeout, or after the timeout. Smith goes up, Smith draws contact, and Smith will find herself at the line for 2 free throws. These will be free throws number 2 and 3 for Natalie Smith, who's already 1 for 1.
And a weird spot, you go back to Vassar for Anthony Mason as the head coach in his second season. You have Douglas and Gilly on this team, and you're, okay, wow, look at my weapons that I have. You lose them, and in your second season, you have to start to build a new team around your players like Julia Harvey and Srinivas, and that's a really, really tough task for a head coach.
5 freshmen on this team, Cam. I mean, this is definitely a transition period for Vassar, but nonetheless, a team that expects to compete here in the Liberty League. Smith goes 1 for 2 at the line, juggled around in the paint. Siekman hoping to hold on, and maybe a foul called. I believe they'll charge it to 1-0. That's Natalie Smith, and she obviously is frustrated with that one. Her and Yario thought they may have had a successful double team all the way backed up in their own end.
And that's fine. When you're up 40-18, if you want to have an aggressive foul right there on the full court press, you have an opportunity. You and Albertelli looking for that jump ball and that steal, totally fine to have that in that moment right here, because the momentum fully on the Bombers' side. But if Vassar wants a chance, they have to convert on these turnovers and get the Bombers in foul trouble.
Down 22 now are Vassar, and Srinivas looking to work some magic here. Sierra McDermott, that is, plays catch with Srinivas. A mismatch obvious, and Albertelli is just going to take it away from Srinivas. Again, that mismatch became obvious in the paint, and Albertelli wins that battle 10 times out of 10. On the other end, here go the Bombers. Volpe works it down to Coffey. Coffey back out to Poche, who passes the triple up the baseline in the low block. A one-handed jumper, no good. Ithaca, another second chance. It's Yario. Yario to Coffey. That one a little short. And Vassar finally wins possession, but these second chances are very obviously taking a toll on the Brewers.
And it's the size that the Bombers have. Vassar more of a perimeter team. Bombers work so well in the interior.
Bounce pass in the paint, knocked away from Albertelli. On the floor is Yario, and Volpe's got it. Another turnover for Vassar, who really aren't helping themselves out. Coffey drives, wants the floater, and gets the lucky roll.
A big night so far for Cameron Coffey, and she showed right there, it's not just the perimeter 3. She can drive, she can kick, and she's on her game here. for game number 1 of the Liberty League.
I mean, if this is how good Cameron Coffey's playing on the 2nd of December, just imagine how effective truly in rhythm Cameron Coffey can be come February and March, as that's just a missed opportunity from Seekman. A wide open layup after having the positioning on Coffey. And now Ithaca back on the offensive end.
And back to the Bombers, you're wondering who's going to be that second player. You come into this season, you know Kara Volpe is going to be the star of this basketball team with Grace Cannon leaving and Megan Yaman departing to graduation. You knew it was going to be Volpe as number 1. But the Bombers' question was, who is that number 2? Is it Albertelli? Is it Dorn? Is it Coffey? Or is it all 3 of them? And so far this season, Dorn's been the stat leader. But tonight, in different ways, you bring back depth. Coffey stepping up here.
Absolutely. Coffey's career high is 17. She's at 15 with 4.5 left in quarter number 3. The only question is, how much more minutes will she get? A couple substitutions for the Bombers. Ika Balsetta checks in, the freshman for the Bombers, along with Emily Dorn, who rechecks back in for the second half. Yario, good move to the rack. The sophomore goes up a little too strong. And that one is rebounded by Sierra McDermott, the 5'9 freshman from San Antonio, Texas. Something about Vassar is that their recruiting goes far more than out of the region. A lot of players from around the country. Coming up empty is McDermott, just mentioned her. And now the Bombers working it on the other end. Wide open is Volpe. Fantastic feed from Hannah Polche. She's got an assist. And Ithaca continues to pour it on, but Vassar really not helping themselves out, shooting 23.5% from the field and 7% from downtown. Serena Vossen looking to change that. She can't. Rebounded by Dorn. Dorn, that's her 4th rebound already. Ithaca Balsetta passes up the triple as Ithaca has the opportunity to slow this game down. Polche! She's got a triple, and Ithaca running away with this one on a full sprint. 3 minutes left in quarter number 3. And Ithaca setting themselves up for a potential second half of getting most of your reserves in.
And what a possession by Hannah Polche before. 2 great passes, her head's always up. Look at this once again, Polche.
Polche to Yario. That one a little wild, but regardless, Ithaca maintains possession. Volpe take to the rack, counted, and the foul. Volpe up to 10, a chance for an extra. Not much to say at this point, Cam. Ithaca pedal to the metal.
And to start this third quarter, it was the patience on offense, as we were talking about, but right now it's the fast break. Vassar just not getting back, letting Volpe get behind the defense, and a good job by the Bombers, cutting and passing with ease.
Volpe now the second Bomber into double digits as she comes up empty on the free throw. An air ball, in fact. So Volpe at 10, Coffey at 15, and a lot of Ithaca involved in the scoring column, and that's what has led to this 29-point lead. I mean, in all honesty, Cam, this is a statement for the Liberty League. You don't just beat a team like this, especially Vassar, a team that is very competitive in the Liberty League year in, year out, and Ithaca is just shoving it down their throats right now, a 29-point lead.
And this is not some team that you just lead by 30 points.
Not at all.
Back to last season, Vassar was the team that was, from a lot of people, predicted to win the conference. They finished second overall, 16-1, right behind the Bombers. And St. Lawrence got to the final, but this Vassar team looked like the favorite. And, right now the Bombers showing really a complete difference here. Vassar, obviously, they lost a lot of players, but this is a Vassar team that's coached and they play well. This isn't some just bottom of the conference team you beat by 30.
If this is any indication what Vassar's going to be getting this season, however, as Sierra McDermott goes 0 for 2 at the free throw line. Again, that's not going to help. This is a very young team, but it also is concerning. This is a team that has not shot the ball well, and it hasn't been very promising, Cam. Not a lot of good open looks, as Payne has a potential good look, but she steps out of bounds on the three-pointer. Regardless, it misses. So going back the other way, Payne fires a triple after she hit one late in the first quarter. But again, now the Bombers starters have done such a good job to put themselves in this situation. Now, as you get to the fourth quarter, this is a chance for some younger players and maybe some players you don't usually see in very competitive conference games get the opportunity. I guess you can say it for both teams, but specifically for Ithaca, it's more of a celebratory thing.
2 sophomores and a freshman on the floor here for the Bombers, too. Only 2 upperclassmen, one of them being a junior in Polche, but you have Yorio, Payne, and the freshman. That's a really, really good thing to see late in the game. The trust from Dan Raymond we saw last year, everyone coming in a different role. And, I'll be honest, one of the players I remember, Alyssa Spady, coming off the bench in many moments late in the game and stepping up in a big way.
Melissa Spady, Melissa Buxton, Alex Hewitter, those became some key contributors to the Bombers.
They play 6 or 7 minutes, and then it would be the best 6 or 7 minutes of the whole entire season.
I can't remember on senior day when Buxton, Hewitter, and all of them got the start on senior day, and it was the game against St. Lawrence, and it was a big game, and there were concerns, do we play our seniors? And Ithaca went out to, a 10-2 start to start the game, thanks to a couple Melissa Buxton three-pointers, and then Buxton played some significant minutes in the NCAA tournament. I mean, these blowout wins really do go a long way when you need to fill minutes in those big games.
Minutes and injuries.
You're right. When you come to March, the legs aren't fresh like you mentioned in the first half. Right now they are, however, and Polche shows it off on the pull-up jumper. Polche really emerged as a key piece for Ithaca towards the middle half of last season. Came off the bench and really became a dynamic shooter. And now Polche up to 7 points in this game, moving the rock, shooting it well. A lot of pieces for Ithaca coming together, and it could lead to another promising season if all things go right. 31-point lead for the Bombers, and Jill Payne has the ball, kicks it right out. Just spoke about Polche. She's in a rhythm, and this one goes in and out. Almost rebounded by Srinivasan. Good effort by Polche, and that's something that hasn't changed through now nearly 30 minutes of basketball. The hustle and effort from Ithaca has never changed, and that's that Ithaca mentality, isn't it?
It does not change at all, and back to their motto, more. They're always giving more on the court. Really no matter what the score is in a game like this, and you go back to this early on in the season. It's December. You're not even a month in. You're 5 games in. This is the 6th right here. You learn a lot about your team, and the Bombers learning a lot about who could be that 4th and 5th. Polche right now playing her best basketball.
When you look down the board, Ikabel Seta, the freshman who is in coverage right now, down low in the paint with Kernick, and Vassar will have to reset. She's not even in the scoring column yet. Empty three-pointer from Ahern. Offensive rebound by Vassar. And cleaning up the mess is Naya Kernick, the freshman from California. She's on the board. And Ithaca can hold for the last shot. Polche's moved it well. Dorn with 6. 3 seconds. Payne fires a long triple, and it's off the iron. And that's how we wrap up quarter number 3, but Ithaca in the driver's seat as we head to the 4th quarter. Cam, obviously Ithaca played a strong end of their first half, but they carried that in for a full 10 minutes of dominant basketball. Out of everything that really went well for Ithaca, what is one thing that you loved that the Bombers did in that 3rd quarter?
Well, the offense finally got into rhythm. We saw in that end of the first half, the defense was playing well. We saw some sparks from Coffey, and the offense was starting to get there. Right now, we're seeing the Ithaca Bomber basketball we expected after last season. 20 wins in a row. You get to the 2nd round of the NCAA tournament. It's getting everyone involved, selfless basketball, and that's what the Bombers have shown right here. It's everyone involved. Night by night, it can change, especially on a team where there's not that Grace Cannon. But tonight, it's Cameron Coffey and Hannah Polche. Tomorrow night, it could be Dorn and anyone else on this team. It could be Dorn and Albertelli.
You're right, and I think that is something that Ithaca is not only proving to everyone across the league, but they're proving to themselves that we have players on the floor right now and on the bench that are going to contribute, whether you like it or not, and they prove that all game long tonight as we are just about set for the 4th quarter. Listen, folks, if you're here listening, there is another game coming up right after this. The men's squad takes on Vassar, in which will be a very competitive game. This is an Ithaca men's basketball team that had an early exit in the semifinals of the conference tournament last year following a 2019-2020 championship in the Liberty League. So, if you see on your screen, maybe up to the top right, you see the men's squad getting ready to go for the game following this one. But first, obviously, 10 more minutes of basketball to decide the conclusion and final score of this one. But so far, in the direction of a statement win for the Ithaca Bombers, currently up by 29. Srinivasan on the pull-up, working on Smith, and it clanks in and out, rebounded by Albertelli, and the Ithaca starters are currently in. Not sure how long it'll last, but again, it is a conference game, and you want to put the pedal to the metal, and Ithaca has a chance to really add some points. Currently averaging 62.6 per game. Yario wants 2 more, however, she'll kick it out. Forward to forward, now forward to guard in Smith. Smith, nifty move, gets to the rack, can't finish. Offensive rebound, Volpe, and she earns 2 free throws at the line.
Nice job of the Bombers. Second chance points. Once again, it goes back to it. One miss is not the end of the possession for the Bombers, and Volpe another chance here. And I want to go back to your point before, but the men's playing right after this. That's the beauty of when you get back to basketball season. The doubleheaders, Friday and Saturday night, both teams going at it. That's what you really love about the winters here in Ithaca.
Oh, I mean, I can't get enough of it as Volpe hits the first one. In a game like this, it calls for story time. One of the first traditions I really found at Ithaca way back as a freshman was, the Friday, Saturday night doubleheaders. You pack the gym out for Friday night basketball. First you got the women's, then you got the men's, and then Saturday afternoon basketball. You got women's team and the men's team. And, there was a lot of weekends, Cam, where Ithaca Athletics was walking away with 3 to 4 wins a weekend. Yeah. And all of a sudden, a couple weekends go by, you're almost midway through that January, February semester, the spring semester, and playoff basketball is right around the corner. That's one of my favorite things about Division III basketball. It's one of those little traditions as Lee pulls up from 3 and comes up short. Srinivasan with the rebound for Vassar. Now Lee drives up, Lee draws contact, and she'll find herself at the charity stripe after an Albertelli is charged with the foul. And this will only be free throws number 5 and 6 for Vassar, who has struggled in the offensive category.
Have struggled here, and the big thing for them, not everyone's getting involved on offense. When you look at this Ithaca team on offense, it seems like everyone touches the ball every possession. It almost is like Dan Raymond's putting them through a drill where, okay, everyone has to touch the ball before we can go down and try to score. Vassar, the exact opposite here. It's 1 or 2 players trying to take it themselves, and that game plan hasn't worked.
Vassar wins possession. Coming up for 3 and a miss is Ahern. And now the other way comes Natalie Smith. Natalie Smith misses but gathers her own rebound and maintains yet another Ithaca possession. I mean, this rebound total for Ithaca up to 36. Albertelli, nice move, goes up with the left, can't come down with 2 points. On the other end comes Vassar, and here comes Eliza Srinivasan, only working with 2 points in this one. Looking for the turnaround shot, kicks it out to Lee. Lee with a nice move on the good defensive-minded player of Cara Volpe, however, can't come up with the shot. And now Volpe can slow things down for the Bombers, just about 2 minutes into this one. Ithaca with a 30-point lead. This will help the margin, as Natalie Smith can't come up on the turnaround short jumper. But again, as I mentioned, Ithaca coming into this one, averaging just under 63 points a game, allowing just over 58 points per game. That margin will be heavily influenced after this one. Again, a statement performance from the Bombers. 3-pointer goes for Julia Harvey. Harvey played effective basketball for Vassar in her freshman year, and she is someone that we are going to look at. But a timeout is called after Harvey's 3-pointer. And with 7.5 minutes left, Cam, is it time to see some of the newer faces?
Yeah, and you go back to that point when you're playing December basketball, because there's a few more games and then there's almost a month off before you get into the new year when they start to get back and ready to go with winter break. So there's that big drop off. This is almost considered preseason, and obviously it's the start of Liberty League play, but the Bombers take a large amount of time off. So right now is when you're trying to find out, okay, who are our role players? Who's going to be a helpful 6th and 7th player on this team that can come off the bench? And that's when you find out a lot about it right now. Who's going to play these last few minutes, play aggressive, and can be trusted down the stretch?
Absolutely, and those are, the benefits you get when you can win games like this, Cam. I know we've talked about it now a couple times, but, you get those new faces in. Those are the faces you trust down the stretch, whether they're seniors, whether they're juniors, whether they're underclassmen, regardless, as Vassar is now in a full court press.
Really Vassar's chance here.
Yeah, I mean, you get on a run right here. There's still 7.5 minutes left, and in basketball time, that could be an eternity. Ichabal with possession. Smith passes up the triple. Looks like she wants the shot. Steps back. Long two. Goes. I mean, when Natalie Smith is playing like that, have fun.
Creative. Really creative move from Smith.
I mean, you didn't see that out of her last year, let me tell you. You did not see that out of her. I don't even know if Natalie Smith would have went up with a shot like that ever. Playing with confidence through the roof, and it is showing. The potential of Natalie Smith is going to be put on watch here in the Liberty League as Vassar throws this one away with 6:40 remaining.
And very similar to Smith, a player that gained confidence was Megan Yaman last season. A similar player where it was in a different role and not playing with as much confidence, but when she got into that position to be a senior and a grad senior, she had to step up in that role. And Smith right now, taking the shots, taking advantage, and taking control.
Absolutely, and that became a difference maker in the Ithaca Bombers season. Meg Yaman had a career high in the biggest game of the season and came up with one of the bigger shots in Ithaca women's basketball history, tying the game, making up from a 13-point deficit in the second round. Polche can't get the lucky roll, but Albertelli has another offensive rebound for the Bombers. This one, cross court. Polche, another chance. In rhythm, you bet. Anna Polche up to 8 points. That's her second three-pointer of the night. Ithaca's up to 6 triples on this Friday night on the South Hill. Just about halfway through. And number 14, Ithaca, putting together a statement performance in the Liberty League opener, proving that they are ready to pick up right where they left off, and they'll waste no time doing it. And in all, Cam, you look around the Liberty League, a lot of teams lost a lot of significant talent, but Ithaca has players and depth to just keep on stepping up into these roles, and that makes you wonder, how good can this Ithaca team be? They only lost one game in conference last year, and it came to Vassar. Other than that, they beat St. Lawrence 3 times and every other team twice.
And you wonder how good the conference is really going to be. What other teams are the powerhouses with the Bombers? Because everyone was probably saying, the Bombers lost Grace Cannon. Well, do you remember Emily Dorn, Carol Volpe, a lot of other players in this team that can step up in that number 1 role? And you wonder, throughout the Liberty League, we're going to learn very soon who are the other teams. Is St. Lawrence back? They were number 3 team that came on. We're in that Liberty League championship, a tough team to play. Who are the contenders to take the crown from the Bombers?
Ithaca will obviously explore that throughout conference play, but as Cam mentioned, this is a long season. That's obviously thanks to the winter break all universities and colleges take for Christmas and New Year's and all that jazz. But obviously the basketball team gets back right after New Year's and is pretty much directly into conference play, as Ithaca will have their fair share of subs. Isabella Middleman checks in along with Jillian Payne. Anna Watkins is in for the Bombers. Ichabal Seta, the freshman star, is in with Polche. Good looking jumper by Gelb Tolva. So Tolva in rhythm cashes in a 2-pointer. 5:20 left here in the fourth. As the gym continues to pack, again, mention these doubleheaders. One of my favorite parts of basketball season is this tradition that Ithaca holds.
You're just getting almost nostalgic just feeling these doubleheaders.
Polche, add 2 more to her total. Polche, the third Bomber in double digits. She's got 10. A promising game from Polche, a promising game from Coffey. All across the table, there are a lot of positives for this Bombers team. And Cam, you mentioned it before, it's not working this offense around a superstar. It's working with multiple contributors and getting everyone involved, making sure that each possession down the floor, everyone is touching the rock, as Siekman, with a good inside move, gets 2 more for Vassar, cuts the lead to 30.
The biggest thing you need for a winning basketball team is trust, and we saw it last year with Dan Raymond when you mentioned on senior night, the seniors all playing that were a lot of players that came off the bench. Right now you're seeing it's trust once again.
Polche kicks it back out to Watkins. Ichabal Seta Right back out to Polche. Can Polche add 3 more? You heard the crowd. Hannah Polche cannot be stopped. You see a big grin on her face after she cashed home that triple. And with under 4 minutes left, the Bombers are having some fun. This one will stay Vassar's way. Almost a turnover on behalf of Serena Vossen. But Ithaca will make a couple more subs. Brady Lynch checks in for Hannah Polche. And Shea Sabano checks in for Jillian Payne. So Polche with a fantastic night. 3 for 7 from beyond the arc. 5 for 12 from the field. 2 rebounds and assists. A block. And of course, the 13 points. Almost taken away by Ika Belsetta. She does. Belsetta looking for her first 2, and it's off the glass and in.
This is a clinic right now for the Bombers. Polche, everyone getting involved here. This is the Bombers basketball that people expected, and also coming off a loss from over 20 points on the road. They come here Friday night, first conference game, and look at the score.
Yeah, they're having some fun, Cam. A 35-point lead. If you asked me how this game would go, I promise you, I would have not assumed anything like this. Almost taken away by Ika Belsetta. I mean, and you know, Cam, I feel like when we opened this broadcast in the first quarter, we were talking a lot about Ika Belsetta and, you know, what she brings to the table. You mentioned 19 points in her first game, as she is actually checking out right now, but, you know, only 2 points for her, and that's not a problem because everyone else was playing, you know, superior basketball along with Ika Belsetta. And again, that shows the diversity of this Ithaca basketball team and how versatile this team could be on both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively. I mean, Ithaca plays A+ of a game right now. Travel called in the paint.
And Dan Raymond probably saying to this team, you know, the main motto is more, obviously, but some nights it's not going to be your game where you drop 15 to 20, but the next night can be, and it goes back to that depth. Tonight it's Polche. Tomorrow night it could be Dorn.
You know, and that's the beauty of this, you know, the versatility Ithaca has. It's because they don't need a 40-point score to win a game by 35. Their highest scorer is Cameron Coffey at 15, and then the love is shared all throughout this lineup. Smith's got 6, Dorn's got 4, Albertelli's got 6, Volpe 12, Polche 13, 3 for Payne, 2 for Ika Belsetta, and then 4 for Yario. Again, this is sharing the love throughout the gym, and the Bombers have had plenty of players in the scoring column. Looks like a foul down in the paint, and Vassar will have 2 free throws.
And that's Vassar's problem. Vassar is hoping, okay, can Harvey give us 20 tonight? When's Lee going to step up in that way? McDermott and others on this team, they're expecting someone to have that 20-point night, not the 11, 12s, and 13s shared around.
Freshman Margot Gramique misses her first free throw. A guard at 5'6" from Delaware, went to Wilmington Friends High School. 0 for 1 at the line. And a quiet Ben Light Gymnasium watches Gramique go 0 for 2 from the charity stripe. Vassar still in the full court press, but might be time to start hitting the music for Ithaca. 2.5 minutes left in this one, and the Bombers trotting their way to the finish line. Far victorious. Good feed by Sabano. Sabano to Watkins.
And still the energy in here as well. You hear the Bombers clapping as well.
Cam, you know the Ithaca tradition every time Ithaca gets a win? You make my dreams. You know, you're making my dreams come true. That is one of my favorite Ithaca traditions. Speaking about the doubleheaders, I mean, that's a Division III kind of story, but regardless, Ithaca plays the music every time they get a win. Sabano just picked up the assist. Now she's got a bucket. 39-point lead for the Bombers, who are just pushing all the buttons right now, and everything's going Ithaca's way. But you know, an absolute legendary song here at Ithaca College. In about 1:40 of game clock, we'll hear that one roll throughout the gym.
14 players tonight for the Bombers suited up to play, and you're seeing it right now in a game like this where, you know, you're up 69-30, that every single player out of the 14 can come in. We saw what Watkins has done coming into this game. Sabino with the reverse layup. It's all throughout this roster.
First free throw knocked down from Gromik, and Gromik gets her revenge from previously going 0 for 2 from the charity stripe. But also for Vassar, you got to put this in perspective. They're getting a bunch of young players in as well. Obviously, you're not on the winning side of this big-time blowout for the Bombers, but, you know, you look at the positives, and that is one of them. But, you know, Vassar looks like they might be in for a struggle this season if they can't get, you know, some of their key contributors to play superior basketball, because you're right, Ken, this is kind of what this team is going to bank on in 2022 and 2023.
And you wonder what the whole Liberty League is going to think after this game. They're going to look at the league scoreboard and say, okay, wow, the Bombers beat Vassar by over 30 points. What's this Bombers team going to be this year, and is Vassar not that top 3 in this three-headed monster of the Liberty League that we saw last season?
Bombers with a 38-point lead. Middleman goes up, and Middleman will go to the line with a chance for points. Middleman, a sophomore at 5'7", a New Jersey native. And she had a strong take to the rack. She's got a chance for free throws. First one just rolls out. And with 1:22 left, a chance for Ithaca to get to 70. Middleman goes 0 for 2. And maybe a loose ball foul on Brady Lynch. She didn't look like she agreed with the call, but regardless, it's going the way of Brewers.
And you talk about Brady Lynch. When you look at a grad senior on a basketball team that doesn't play as many minutes, the biggest thing you look at is leadership for Brady Lynch. That's a big part of her role on this team in practice and on game days. She's a leader. She has experience as someone that this team can trust on and off the court. It's not just on this Bombers team, everyone with skill. You need those leaders, and Lynch is one of them.
Ithaca's highest point total was at Montclair State. They dropped 72, and then an offensive foul from Dubin. With a minute left, Ithaca 3 points shy of their season high. Looking ahead for the Bombers with under a minute left and a 38-point lead. They return home tomorrow to take on Bard College at 2 o'clock. You can find coverage of that game right here in the exact same spot on the athletic stream of Bomber Sports. Almost taken away by Sabino, but a loose ball. No, sorry, that's a jump ball. I beg your pardon. And then Ithaca, before taking the break for the semester, of course, just one more game at the University of Rochester. And Cam, the last time Ithaca played the University at Rochester was the last time they lost until the second round of the NCAA tournament. So that'll obviously be a fun and entertaining game for the Bombers.
And I remember Dan Raymond saying right after that game, I saw a lot of good here, and it's going to lead us into this final stretch. And I don't think he meant we're going to win 20 straight, but that was the goal, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
trying to win every game.
Yeah, we got so angry we broke the school record for the most wins in a row. How about that? And we came inches away from making, you know, the Sweet 16 of the quarterfinals. Inches away. You know, just a buzzer beater to knock Ithaca out. That's what that 2021-2022 team was all about. And then, of course, you return from break a day after New Year's, and it's a home game versus Hamilton. Then conference play begins for the Bombers. RPI William Smith on the 6th and 7th of January. And then the meat of the season. Rebound by Watkins. Middleman has it. And the Bombers with a standout 38-point win over Vassar College. And this was what we like to call dominant. On both ends of the floor for the Bombers, they dominated from tip-off to now. They shot 45% from the field, 35% from three, holding Vassar to 26% from the field and under 10% from downtown. Cam, a blowout win for the Bombers. Your closing remarks.
Yeah, and all those stats showed right there. The Bombers came here to play today, and they come off a loss against Scranton. It's a ranked team. They were 4-1 coming in. You wonder a lot about the Bombers, what they're going to be this season. And this was a taste of Liberty League play today, and the Bombers showed the whole entire league and the confidence for themselves. This is still that same basketball team right here today, and what they were able to do in a big win. And what you were able to do, Ethan. So I want to say thank you for calling games with you. An absolute pleasure, my man.
Thank you, Cam. I appreciate it. Signing off, and we are sending this one to the post game, but it's been a pleasure, and if you're a fan of Ithaca Women's basketball, I'm sure you're in for a treat as this this team gets into the thick of conference play. But for one last time for Cam Adam, my name is Ethan Birch, and we'll swing it to the post-game show. Jack Casello has you covered.